Have you ever watched a football game where every single play felt like it could change the entire outcome? Where tension is so thick you can almost feel it in your chest, and yet it's a defensive battle that barely reaches double digits on the scoreboard? That was exactly what unfolded at Lambeau Field the other night. A showdown between two NFC heavyweights that left fans on the edge of their seats from start to finish. The Philadelphia Eagles walked away with a win, 10-7, in a game that could not have been scripted any more dramatically, a clash of wills and strategy that proves this team has a knack for thriving under pressure. Now, you're going to hear some voices questioning the offense, calling it stagnant, and pointing fingers at the quarterback. But let's be clear, what the Eagles pulled off against Green Bay wasn't just a victory, it was a statement. This Packers team, despite what their record might suggest, is dangerous. They've got talent on both sides of the ball and a defense that ranks among the best in the league. And the Eagles? They didn't just play, they controlled. They imposed their style of football, methodical, calculated, suffocating like a boa constrictor. Every drive was a test of patience. Every play a move in a chess match that demanded precision and timing. Yes, there were moments when the coaching approach leaned conservative, when it seemed like the play calling shied away from risk. But that was intentional. In a game like this, with two defenses so formidable, sometimes winning is about restraint, about knowing when to tighten the screws and when to unleash. The Eagles played their game, trusting that if they maintained pressure, stayed disciplined, and executed the right plays at critical moments, they would emerge victorious. And that's exactly what happened. Every close call, every tense possession, every third-and-long conversion added to the drama, building a narrative of resilience that feels almost cinematic. When it came down to the final seconds, the tension exploded. 4th and 6, ball on the 36-yard line, just over half a minute remaining. Philadelphia up 10-7. The call? Go for it. Jalen Hurts launches a deep ball to A.J. Brown, incomplete. The heart-stopping moment of aggression could have backfired spectacularly, but instead it underscores the team's fearless mentality. This is a squad that knows how to play under fire, that understands that sometimes the difference between a win and a loss isn't just in yards gained or points scored. It's in composure, in the ability to make plays when the clock is against you, when everything is riding on a single snap. And speaking of making plays, let's talk about the defense. Time and again, they showed up when it mattered most. Green Bay had opportunities, drives that could have swung the momentum in their favor, but the Eagles' defense met each one with determination, discipline, and relentless energy. Jalen Phillips, making his debut after a high-profile trade, was an absolute force. Every tackle, every pressure, every disruption in the backfield reminded fans why this team invests so much in their defensive line. It's not just about talent. It's about timing, communication, and understanding the game in a way that allows them to anticipate, react, and dominate. That fumble recovery, the forced turnovers, the quarterback hits, they were more than statistics. They were momentum shifts, game changers, the moments that separate championship teams from the rest of the pack. On the offensive side, Jalen Hurts demonstrated why he remains a cornerstone of this team's identity. The box score might not scream dominance, but the context tells a different story. When the game was on the line, he made the throws that counted, the decisions that kept the chains moving, the plays that sustained drives. His connection with receivers like Devonta Smith and A.J. Brown continues to be a highlight, the chemistry and timing that can flip a game in an instant. And let's not forget the run game, controlled, disciplined, exploiting every small gap, keeping defenses honest, and setting up the big moments when the team needed them most. What's remarkable about this Eagles team is their ability to win in ways that aren't always flashy, but are always effective. They don't care if the scoreboard doesn't light up with highlight reel numbers. They don't care if every fan leaves the stadium talking about touchdowns. What matters is the W, and every close game they navigate, every nail-biter they survive, reinforces their identity. A team that is mentally tough, physically resilient, and unafraid to play on the edge. That mental toughness translates into a confidence that is palpable, a calm pulse in situations where other teams might crumble. And against a team like Green Bay, in their house, That kind of composure is priceless. Historically, this rivalry adds even more weight to every play, every decision, every defensive stand. The Eagles have a knack for showing up against the Packers, stretching back over a decade, and that legacy adds a psychological edge that is subtle but undeniable. Every tackle, every sack, every stop at the line of scrimmage carries with it not just the immediate impact, but a sense of continuity, a historical narrative of Philadelphia dominance in high-stakes situations. That tradition, combined with the fresh energy of new players and key acquisitions, creates a mix of experience and innovation that few teams can match. And so, as the clock wound down and the Eagles walked away with the win, the story was not just about points on the board, but about execution, about preparation, about the mental fortitude to thrive when every ounce of pressure is applied. Whether it was the precise throws on critical third downs, the defensive line collapsing the pocket at just the right moment, or the special teams pinning Green Bay deep when it mattered most, every element of the game contributed to a narrative of a team that knows how to win, a team that understands the subtleties of high-level football, and a team that refuses to let opportunities slip away. When you really look back at how that game unfolded, it was a perfect reflection of what this Philadelphia Eagles team has become under pressure, a group that doesn't panic, doesn't get caught up in the noise, and find a way to make the right plays when it matters most. The stat sheet might not make headlines, but every yard felt earned. Every possession was a battle, and every decision carried weight. Jalen Hurts wasn't lighting up the scoreboard, but he was commanding the offense with a calmness that spoke volumes. 15 completions on 26 attempts for 183 yards, a touchdown, no interceptions. Those are the kind of efficient numbers that don't dazzle at first glance, but tell you exactly how steady he was in the biggest moments. That third and long deep in their own territory was the definition of clutch. The pocket starts to collapse, the defense is closing in, and Hurts keeps his eyes scanning until he spots Saquon drifting out to the left. A quick swing pass, a juke, and suddenly Saquon is spinning up the sideline, turning what looked like a busted play into a 40-yard highlight that changed the rhythm of the game. That one play was everything this team stands for: resilience, vision, and the ability to turn chaos into opportunity. On the very next snap, Hurts hits Devonta Smith on a deep shot, a perfectly placed throw that seemed to hang in the air forever before Smitty climbed the ladder and brought it down for the touchdown. The pump fake, the timing, the trust, it was all textbook. That throw was more than a score. It was a message that when the pressure builds, this team knows exactly how to strike. From that point on, the tone shifted. The Eagles were no longer reacting. They were dictating. Even when the Packers answered back with a drive of their own to cut the lead to 10-7, you could feel the confidence on the Philadelphia sideline. The defense stepped up again, shutting down passing lanes, collapsing pockets, and forcing Jordan Love to make rush decisions. Jalen Phillips, who had already made a strong impression in his debut, continued to wreak havoc. His motor never stopped, constantly finding ways to disrupt plays before they could develop. 6 tackles, a tackle for loss, 2 quarterback hits, and a fumble recovery. That's how you announce yourself to a new fan base. You could see the chemistry forming on that defensive line, the way each player seemed to feed off the energy of the next. Jalen Carter was exploding through the middle, blowing up running lanes and batting down passes like it was nothing. Nolan Smith made his presence known with his first sack of the year, and you could feel the bench erupt as if the entire defense was celebrating one of their own breaking through. That's what's special about this unit. It's not about individual stats. It's about collective dominance. When one guy wins his matchup, the entire line benefits, and the quarterback has no escape. And credit has to go to Vic Fangio for dialing up the right calls at the right time. The timing of the blitzes, the disguise in coverage, it all threw Green Bay off rhythm. Nakobe Dean's strip sack on Jordan Love was perfectly timed, a moment that completely flipped momentum. That's the kind of play championship defenses make. They don't just hold teams, they create chaos, they generate turnovers, and they close the door when opportunity knocks. The Eagles' defense didn't just contain, they imposed their will. Offensively, there's still room for improvement, and everyone knows it. A.J. Brown being limited to just 2 catches for 13 yards isn't going to sit well with anyone, especially after the season he's been having. But sometimes games unfold in ways that force adjustments. The Packers' defense rolled coverage his way almost every snap, daring the Eagles to beat them elsewhere. And when that happens, it's about patience, about trusting that your moment will come. Devonta Smith stepped into that spotlight beautifully, leading the team in targets and delivering when the ball came his way. Dallas Goedert, too, was crucial in those middle stretches, providing safe, reliable hands when the offense needed short yardage conversions. Then there's Saquon Barkley, who looked like the spark plug this offense needed. His energy after the catch, the spin moves, the acceleration. It's the kind of playmaking that breathes life into an offense when things feel stagnant. That 40-yard burst wasn't just a highlight. It was the moment that reminded everyone what kind of talent he brings. And while the offensive line had its moments of struggle, especially after Lane Johnson tweaked his ankle, they held strong when it counted, giving Hurts just enough time to make plays. The toughness of that unit, their ability to fight through adversity, says a lot about the culture this team has built. And culture is what truly separates contenders from pretenders. The Eagles don't flinch. Whether it's a close, gritty defensive battle or a high-scoring shootout, they find a way to adapt. Winning ugly is still winning, and that's something championship teams understand. They've now positioned themselves once again at the top of the NFC, and with the schedule ahead, every game starts to feel like a playoff matchup. Next up, a massive showdown under the lights on Sunday Night Football against the Detroit Lions, a game that could carry serious postseason implications. But what stands out most after this Green Bay win isn't just the record or the standings, it's the mindset. This team doesn't rely on momentum or luck. They rely on structure, depth, and belief. You can see it in the way Hurts handles himself on the field, how calm he stays even when things break down, how the defense rallies together after every big stop. It's a quiet confidence, a collective trust that no matter how wild things get, they'll figure it out. Before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. Your support helps us keep delivering the latest updates on our Philadelphia Eagles. And don't be shy. Share your thoughts on the news in the comments below. Whispers are spreading fast across the NFL world, and this time, the spotlight isn't on a player, but on one of the most recognizable voices in sports broadcasting. Rumors are swirling that Joe Buck, the longtime play-by-play commentator, had some not-so-flattering words about the Philadelphia Eagles, and naturally, the fan base isn't taking it lightly. According to several people close to the broadcast scene, Buck was overheard making critical remarks about the Eagles organization during an off-air moment. The exact wording remains unclear, but sources claim his comments went beyond the usual analysis and veered into territory that could be seen as disrespectful toward both the team and its supporters. As anyone familiar with Philadelphia sports culture knows, that's a dangerous line to cross. Buck has long been a polarizing figure in NFL coverage. Some fans praise his calm professionalism, while others accuse him of bias, depending, of course, on which side of the field you stand. But this latest rumor has reignited old tensions, with Eagles fans flooding social media platforms, dissecting every syllable of his recent broadcast for hidden jabs or sarcastic undertones. Whether Buck's alleged comments were simply taken out of context or represent a genuine frustration with the team's recent storylines is anyone's guess. Some insiders suggest the broadcaster may have grown weary of what he perceives as overhyped narratives surrounding the Eagles roster. Others insist it's all smoke, a manufactured controversy born from a restless fan base always ready to defend its own. Still, the buzz won't fade easily. In Philadelphia, where sports loyalty borders on religion, even a hint of disrespect is enough to ignite outrage. If Buck does address the rumors, he'll need to tread carefully. In this city, forgiveness isn't handed out lightly. For now, the story remains a murmur, one that could either fade into the background or explode in the next big NFL media storm. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay updated with exclusive news about our Philadelphia Eagles, be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that like button. We can't wait to hear your thoughts in the comments. See you in the next video.